I'm afraid there are some things that you can't know. I assure you it's for the right reasons. You want to know those reasons? I'm afraid telling you would make the whole process useless. You insist you want to know? Let's just say it's in the interests of national security, and you would not want to be unsafe or kill others to know. Trust me, you'll be told when it's possible. You're not missing out on anything that's too important.
Declassification is one of the most honourable acts of an archivist, a gift to the future of context that has been denied to the past. It proves that the public narrative is always away from the true reality. Unfortunately, due to the subject matter always being in the past, declassification naturally only reaches a few people, those interested in the subject and those interested in history. This is a great limitation. It prevents it from entering popular knowledge and also relevant political debates that are happening at the current moment. It is this limiting impact and pushing the consequences further away that makes classifying these things out of the public reach so attractive for governments. Even if the information is quite important to a current discussion that is occurring, it's often pushed aside. A functional, well-rounded democracy is valued less than achieving political success or agendas of change. Naturally, in this discussion, I'm excluding actual information that is required to be hidden for national security. It could be stuff like naval movements or troop deployments. However, it is often that information that the political class seem more than happy to give away.
It started off with stuff that was so reasonable. Like, we're at a point of crisis. This can't get out. It's not that we did want to hide it from people. It's that we wanted to keep those people safe. And then slowly, it just seemed like we were keeping everything away. And that's when the problems really started.
In our current moment in time, we have the same issues of difference of opinion that existed prior. Yet reality itself is being debated, and it's reaching our daily life. It's moved from the educated halls with lots of common rules and an accepted level of, bohemianism, to now it's becoming a common policy discussion and become a part of the messy political game. One of the biggest points of distortion are objective facts. These raw numbers that are given out and can be sourced, increasingly polled, many Americans no longer even agree on them, or even have a basic idea of the number. All other debates rest on a common understanding at a certain level. If you can't establish that, then nothing more can be done. Society itself can't move forward unless disagreements are worked out, one way or another. It seems the civil society that we've lived in for quite some time is slowly eroding. It's not by accident that these manipulations occur. Keeping prudent information away denies honest discussion, and this is being increasingly viewed by political figures as a positive. The demanded pace of change only seems to be getting faster. This means that debate and discussion that many find to be the correct process is becoming a liability. In a time of crisis, choices have to be made quickly. By keeping us in this time of crisis, they skip the rational pushback to rushing people. If the pandemic has shown us anything, it's that many people enjoy keeping us in that time of crisis. Another dirty trick that is well liked is severity, or more honestly, the perception of severity. This is one of the most manipulated points in the modern discussion. By making the severity on a longer time frame, that lowers the amount that it's felt. If you have 50 years to pay something back, rather than 10, even if I make the number immense, it will feel less impactful. Yet you can also enlarge a threat. A shrinking of the time allowed is common, along with grouping all impacts together. The grouping allows serious impacts that often occur later along to be pushed to the front of the discussion, even though there's plenty of time to course correct. Yet there's another element to grouping. It's where you collect a large amount of positive or negative information and smash it together. This means that instead of viewing things on the individual merit, you just group the entire thing. Now, this is, on one hand, needed. Communication has to have things that limit scope. But we're often seeing, especially on Capitol Hill, this done unnecessarily and to an insane degree. Sometimes the lowest effort is used and just the name is changed. The Fair and Honest Justice Act being a hypothetical example of a name that sounds good to most people, but could have anything under it. Another sneaky trick is to play with the clock. A story may only get one serious reading by most of the population. Making sure that that reading is high impact and correct for the agenda that you're pushing, you can change views. To ensure no weakness for hostile forces, you can later publish more information, make corrections, or retractions. The truth or a better picture can be allowed once you've got the desired level of impact.
It's never fully hidden. We just make sure it doesn't hit their attention. It sits in the back of the mind, slowly builds up.
If you don't suit the narrative, you can be changed. Every part of you is not set in stone or in facts. Your beliefs and previous actions don't add up for much. There are enough people and enough resources to change it all. Perhaps legally you can fight someone in court if you have enough resources, yet you can always expect to have less total resources in that fight. You're outgunned and your reputation's never coming back. What was permitted and allowed in different times is slowly being constricted. In the political sense, the libertarians are already feeling this pressure as mobs don't really care about Milton. In the situation we're finding ourselves in, the people against us, or better said, the entities against us, have all of the cards. As science has advanced, they've managed to pull apart a lot of what makes a human. And I say entities not in the sense of the supernatural, because the corporations at this point, well, beyond legality, are already starting to act independent from the humans that make up them. A board making decisions that the humans in that board would never make. It's the grouping. It's a real-life version of the grouping that occurred earlier. But this time, instead of just grouping ideas and arguments, it's grouping, I guess, a corporate intent. Indeed, the grim reality that we're heading into is likely to be a permanent stain on individuals and contemporary politics. Faith in our country's systems is in a freefall. The judicial branch is currently the most exposed and critical, and yet it's in dire straits and would need an extensive defence to be mounted. In Canada, the United Kingdom and the United States, the fight over this institution is, well, heading to its end. In the EU, it never really existed. Perhaps earlier projects that we're feeling the consequences of had noble intent. When you read the documents from the 20th century, you can see that for a great many of the people there, they probably wanted to avoid the horrors of World War I and then World War II. For other documents, it's a lot less clear what the intent was. We've inherited documents that were written not for our time. The situation is rapidly changing and new technology just adds fuel to this. But we've certainly learnt how to sell a message to people, no matter the end consequences of that.